Hello, viewers. I'm SB,
And I'm Amabel.
and welcome back to 4X School, where today we are still talking about go fast 4Xs and sort of offshoots of that idea, because today we're not even really playing a 4X. Slipways is one of my favorite things to emerge from the sort of the space around the genre over the past few years. Slipways is, I would say, more of a 3X. That is, it has a lot of the ideas, but it doesn't have direct player competition. It's sort of a score attack, just like generate as much sort of abstract economic value as possible. There's no other players, there's no combat, and there's nobody threatening to win the game before you do. Just you, undeveloped space, and 25 years to make it into a thriving society. So we're just going to do a standard run here. We're just going to play on reasonable, pick a random sector, and go. Okay, so I'm gonna have to talk a bit. There's some concepts here at the beginning of this game. Just let me go for a second here. So you start the game by selecting a council. Your council will be made up of 3 of the 5 factions of this Galactic Federation. Without going into a lot of detail about what we're doing here, I'm going to select. You like bugs? We can do bugs.
Bugman.
Yeah, bugs. Okay, joint factories is fun, and then like
Blue Lady.
Vittori's maybe. Vittori's pretty okay. Yeah, part of me wants to pick up that really early, but no, never mind. We'll do it like this. Okay, so when you are selecting your 3 factions from your council, part of what you're doing is setting up your starting perks. Each faction has 2 perks available. You can choose one of them from 2 of the different factions. These are pulled from a pool, so they are randomized every game. You know, there's like 5 different Dender perks or whatever, so you see 2 of them each game. In addition, each faction is going to add 6 technologies to your technology tree, and again, these are pulled randomly from a larger pool, so they're not all the same from game to game. And we're just going to jump in here and explain that stuff in more detail in a moment, because there's a lot to get through. Amabel, please hold your question. So here's the thing. It is January 3401. We have 12 months and 24 years until our time as the governor of this part of the galaxy ends. And in that time, we're just trying to make as many points as possible here. We have a score counter. We'll come back to it later. Most things you do in this game cost money, but also almost everything you do in the game costs time. So this game is turn-based, but you are sort of like the specific actions you take spend different amounts of your remaining time. So like, for example, we're going to start by sending out probes, and you can see here, sending out this probe is going to cost us 3 space credits and also 1 month. It advances the timeline, and the probe reveals all of the planets that were in the area of the probe. We're just going to do another 1 or 2 of those. Can I get all? Yeah, I can get all 4 of these in one. Nice. Okay, we're just kind of opening up our options here. Okay. Each of the planets is of a different type. You can see here we got some ocean worlds, we got some mineral worlds, we got a forge world over there. This is Arctic. And each type of world has sort of different industries that can be installed on it. You can see an industry is characterized by inputs creating outputs. If we made Trantor 1 into an algae farm, it would need robots to come work the algae, and it would output food. Delicious algae burgers. And the idea is you want to create an economic web of planets such that every planet is getting its inputs fed into it. Every planet is getting its outputs sent out to somewhere where they're getting used. And ideally looping for, net positive prosperity and industry for everybody. That's the basic concept, and that's what will be scored on. Okay, Amabel, this is maybe a good time for a question. What's up?
So those 18 technologies are those all the technologies that we have? Are there base technologies on top of that? Are those randomized? Like how?
So here's the technology tree as it stands. You
Okay.
can see it has it has a couple more than 18 in it. There's always the slipstream relay technology that unlocks the slip relay structure, but mostly the technology tree is mostly made up of the 18 techs that we are given. There's this and there's no, I think that's it actually. This is the only one that's not that didn't come from one of our factions.
Okay.
And then we have the ability to build structures. So we'll get to that. This is a laboratory. This is how we make science, but we'll talk about science once we have some basic economy running. So let's try to get set up here. We have an income value to the right of our wealth. At the beginning of each year, we will receive space credits equal to our income value. So, and the way we get income, of course, is getting goods to places that they are needed. So let's try to figure this out. How do we want to set up? We're going to need, generally what I'm thinking is like we need workers. We need we need workers. And so you need the things that support workers. Across the set of planets we have here, we could get a colony going on this Arctic planet. It would require an income of biomass and food. Or we could set up a colony on this jungle planet, which would require food and some technology to keep the jungle at bay. Or we could set up a colony on these ocean planets, but that would require food and minerals. Now, the good news is, with a mineral world right there, it's very easy to get a beneficial trade going. People mine minerals, the minerals come back here and create a place for the people to live. But then we have to figure out what we want to do about food. This planet could produce food if it's fed in biomass. This planet could produce food if it's fed in robots. But we don't have a super easy way to negotiate. You can see here which planets can reach which other planets. Okay, here's what we're going to do. A colony. So this world is currently in the state struggling. It has none of its needs met. It is very unhappy. It's costing us upkeep, and it's not producing any resources. Or it's not producing any income. We're going to set up a mine here, and then we are going to link them with one of the game's eponymous Slipways. And look at that. Now we got some income going because we have 2 different planets exporting stuff. We're starting to get needs met. This planet has its basic level need met of just people. And so it has become established. And as the planet's state upgrades, you see the happiness level of the planet change. If we wanted to bump up to the next level, we have to meet its new resource needs, and we have to make sure that it is part of enough import and export routes. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to take Ruin 7, the Forge World, and we're going to turn it into a multi-purpose factory. This is a thing we can do because of the perk we picked from the bug people that enables this special option here. That is minerals in, robots out. We just crossed the year threshold there. We'll worry about these tasks in a second here. I'm just going to open and close this window so that it goes away. So minerals down here to help create robots. Then we're going to turn Trantor 1 into an algae farm where robots generate food. Link the food to there, and there we go. Now we have a web of planets, none of which are struggling. Everybody's basic needs are being met. There we go. It's functional. And we have some decent like actual income next when the beginning of the next year comes around. You'll see. But we burn through a ton of time. Settling a planet takes 3 months. Doing the slipway connection between 2 planets costs 1 month. And so it's already the middle of 3402.
Okay.
Let's talk about tasks.
Oh, all right.
The council has tasks for you. At the beginning of your second year, the council is going to ask you to do 2 things. And once you do these things, you'll get more tasks. And tasks are great because, first of all, they give you bonuses, bonuses and rewards. And secondly, they give you this blue stuff here. The blue stuff, I believe, is called Prestige. It's called Legacy, I think. Whatever. The important thing is each blue thing is 50 stars, and stars are how you score points. So you want lots and lots of stars. At the end of the game, you're going to get your actual score is your stars times your global happiness level.
Okay.
So right now, since we're at 98% happiness, we would get 98% of our star value as points. So that's how this number is being calculated. So in terms of tasks here, successful is the next level above where this planet is now. So get one more people producing planet to successful. Like, we're really close to this. We can absolutely get there on this. Get one more Forge World planet to successful. This is a Forge. I don't know for sure if we're gonna, like, how easy that's gonna be to do, but we're not quite in place to invent any technologies yet. So I'm gonna take these two, and we're just gonna try to improve prosperity. You can see the tasks sitting up here to remind us. Okay, what's up? Question.
So, in this example here, to produce stuff on the mineral world, you need the people and the water.
Right.
And to produce people,
so the mineral world produced a mineral by default and wanted people. Once we connected people, we filled all of its needs, and so it upgraded to level 2 and started producing a second point of minerals, which we then fed down to this planet.
Okay. So the world on the right there, the top right, it produced a person to begin with.
At base level, it has 2 people as an output, and it wants mineral and food.
Gotcha. Okay. So I was like, is there a time paradox where how is the and now I get it. So never mind.
All right, so let's poke around a little bit more here. Let's see what else we have in the area. We're gonna send out some probes. You can see you can launch a probe from any colonized world. Okay, interesting. So we found an abandoned forebear ruin here. If we connect a planet that has people on it, we can explore it. First of all, we just got 3 science even for connecting to it, which is nice. This station stores some of the forebear's historical artifacts and records. The records are unreadable, but maybe the artifacts can be of some use. So we could sell them off for 14 credits, or we could take actions that are particular to the Dender faction once we have done at least one task for them. So I'm going to leave it for now, and we're gonna figure out how to get this planet to happiness. Fortunately, I do have a plan. What's up?
It's so amazing that there is like an ancient alien race with advanced technology that's gone now, and we're finding their stuff. I've never seen that in one of these games before.
Yeah, science fiction video games are obsessed with this idea that technological progress is a thing that happens in the past. I don't know why, but it's a very, very popular idea.
It turns out that guy from the History Channel is like an advisor on all the games.
All video games. So this Forge World over here, you can see we can make it so that we can turn this into a goods factory, or it's the 2 different kinds of goods factories, I guess. The important thing is we can get consumer goods out of this world, basically, either by putting in minerals or putting in robots. And that is the one need that this planet still has. Or the one need that this planet has since it got upgraded. So we're going to go ahead and make this a goods world. So this planet would like a mineral. Can this planet see? Okay. So see, the slipways have a maximum length.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to run robots from this planet up to here. So we better make this minerals in. We'll figure it out. The important thing is that the planet has its base outputs right now, and we're just going to go ahead and connect that. Okay, so now this world has all of its needs met, and it's part of 2 import routes, which is great. It needs to be exporting 1 more point of people somewhere for it to bump up to successful. So There aren't a huge number of options around here. There's not a huge number of planets that this thing can reach right now. We can reach this other mineral world where we could just, just gather more minerals. We can probe out here, just like look for something more to do. Oh, that's interesting. So we have access to an Earth-like world where we could send people to produce water and biomass for our various needs. But you can see, so let me make sure one thing is super clear here. Slipways are, they're like roads for trade, right? But slipways cannot cross other slipways. So this is where you start to get some of your biggest constraints just in the building. Like if we make water over here, we're not going to be able to deliver the water to this mine.
Yeah.
So you have to be thinking ahead a lot about like what exactly is it that you're doing with your inputs and outputs, because planets are not happy even with all their needs met unless they are also getting to actually like do something with the output of their industry. I am going to make this a Gaia world. I do think I have a plan. We're going to connect this right here, and this planet jumps up to successful, which clears our Dender task. Got us some blue points there, and you can see trade income's looking pretty good. We're actually producing additional happiness now from this planet. But a thing about people worlds is every point of idle population causes negative happiness. Your people got to be doing something. They get bored out here in space. There is one more level above successful. You can make a planet prosperous by trading with enough other successful planets. So if you can get just sort of like your web of stuff leveled up enough. Okay, so now that we have access to this thing, now that we have access to the Dender, they trust us because we did a task for them. We can use their options at events. So we could turn this into a museum where we contribute extra population to gain happiness. Or we could just gain 8 science right now and use that to buy a technology. In the long run, I think I would rather have the happiness.
Okay.
So we've turned this into a museum, contributing one person from this world. It's turned it into bonus happiness production. The more people we can send, the happier it'll be, but it will only accept 1 point of people from any one planet. So we'd have to connect other planets that are producing people to it. And that's kind of the idea, right? Like you're at this point, you're seeing sort of the whole thing. It's just you get technologies that change the function of your planets or that like allow you to, improve your empire capabilities in various ways. Maybe the range of your slipways increases, and that allows you to do more and better connections. But this game is basically all about like explore, expand, exploit, and then set up a functional trade network within your group of resources. So I feel like it does all of the things that I enjoy about the parts of 4X's that are not directly interacting with another player extremely well. And it really doesn't take that long. Like you can absolutely play a game of Slipways in like 60 to 90 minutes.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah. So that's
spoiler alert.
So that's where that's coming from for me. Do you have Amabel? What's up? Questions?
Well, so this is neat. I like this. I like the logistical element of like the slipways because I don't feel like that's as pressing in like proper 4X games. So like I've seen games where you build a trade route or whatever, like in Civ or whatnot, and the decision does not feel as discrete and meaningful and chunky as it does here. We're like, oh, I've built this, and now I can't cross this thing. That there's too much for me in some of these games. There's too much ability to kind of work around, and I like being constrained. As you know.
Amabel. So This experimental facility was apparently used to terraform entire planets. We should be able to use it one last time if we can figure out the right settings. So if we had completed a task for the Slithid, we'd be able to turn a nearby planet into a forge world, which might be very useful indeed. Or we could turn a nearby planet into an Earth-like world, or we could just dismantle it for money. You kind of always have the ability to just scrap the station. But we should be doing this task for the Slithid in any case. This is important.
Oh,
So
the one thing I oh, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
go ahead.
One thing I do notice that this game is cut out and reducing it to its 3 axes.
Mhm.
That all of these games seem to have cut out is my beloved production queue.
You are so weird about the idea of a production queue. Okay, so I'm trying to get this Forge world up to successful, right?
Yeah.
Over here we have discovered some of your planets will have a little bit of variation here and there. If this planet is colonized to produce people, it will also make 1 unit of culture once it reaches established due to archaeological finds on the planet. Culture is a resource that is never explicitly asked for, but it can be sent to any planet, and it just creates another trade link. So it could be like that last point of exports that a planet needs to go up to established or whatever. And it also produces happiness, I believe, wherever it lands. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like culture is often treated as like a tangible good that you need to buy things or whatnot, and so having it be something where it just improves the world that is sent to, and it just improves happiness and is not explicitly asked for in like one of these input output relationships, I think that's good. I like that.
So in order to get this planet to successful, we got to find some places to put these chips. We got to find some outputs for these chips. The swamp worlds require chips to be settled. They also require chips to farm food. You can see down there at higher levels. First it's just robots, but once you get robots down there, it's also chips. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to make use of these. And I have a couple of thoughts on the matter. There's also some forge worlds down here that we could try to make use of instead. This is a forge world. If we get stuff hooked up around here, let me probe these actually. Let's see. So you can see our income has gotten fairly solid. Oh, interesting. So this world is surrounded by like a lot of remnant worlds and stuff. Remnant worlds, you can see these are places that are basically like they're just covered with old forebear technology, and so you can send people there to just scavenge tech stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know what's over here as well. Okay, I was hoping for a world that would produce water in a position where it could actually connect to our existing mine, and it does appear that we've found one, but it's in sort of an awkward position. It is close enough to make that jump. Yeah, I don't know. This is not great. In case it wasn't clear, Slipways also cannot be run through planets, which can cause some big issues sometimes. So, like, if we can get water delivered to this planet, it will produce an extra point of minerals, which we can use to satisfy that. Is part of what I'm thinking. This planet will need robot income to produce. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a thawing facility. This planet offers a rich supply of water that can be put to use elsewhere. How are we going to get robots over there? I don't 100% know right now. We'll figure it out. But now that's producing the extra point of minerals, which we can send across to here. Okay. Now, I sure wish I could connect chips up here, but we have a Slipways problem and a range problem, so it's just going to be what it's going to be. We can create a source of chips up here somewhere to feed this thing, though. So, we have range here, but there's an asteroid in the way. Fortunately, asteroids are totally destructible. And it's actually, asteroids will yield value to nearby colonized planets when you blow them up. So, let's figure out how we want to set this up. I think this wants to be a people world, because this world's going to want to deliver its other point of goods. And also, we need some people to make the chips up here, right? This is probably a people world. We run, because it's arid, it's going to require water, so we'll run water from here. We'll need food as well, and this world would produce food if it had robots. We could make a farm here. So we could get a really nice situation going if we can find a source of robots to feed into these worlds. And indeed, there is some stuff around where we might be able to make that work. Eventually. Maybe. But you end up with these like sort of spiraling and complicated relationships where it's like, okay, so I'm just going to need to find one more source of this and one more source of that, right? And you can see how the puzzle sort of spirals out of control.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and make this a colony. I'm pretty convinced that that's right. And we know we're going to generate the food for this colony here, so I'm going to put that into action so that this asteroid will generate more wealth for us when we break it. Destroying the asteroid will cost us a month, but it will gain us a little bit of money here. And we're going to contribute the point of food and the point of water from those planets, and then a point of goods out from this planet. And now it'll become successful as soon as it gets one more import route and has chips directed to it. So we're just going to make this... I think it's going to be this one, right? This makes the most sense. We're going to make this a chips world. People to chips. Chips to that and there. We have a successful planet, thus completing the last of our remaining tasks. And as soon as you put down your tasks, you get new ones. Doing successive tasks for the same factions yields more and more reward, both in terms of the blue stuff and in terms of just like raw resources. So the Dender would love it if we could get 2 more people producing planets to successful. This one's like right on the border, so honestly that seems very doable. Establish 3 planets producing 4 or more non-people resources. That's a challenge. And get 1 more remnant planet to successful. I mean, we're kind of working on that. I think we can take these tasks. Also, I want to make sure we do 1 task for everybody relatively quickly so that we have access to all of the options for our events. And you can see in doing so, we have in fact upgraded one of our planets to prosperous, where it is producing even more trade income and a ton of extra happiness because it is in a current trade relationship with 3 successful planets while being successful itself.
Okay, and then because you finished the thing for the Bugman, there's a satellite you can do.
Yeah, we could come back here and we could use this to turn a planet into a forge world. I'm actually not sure what we want to do with this. I'm just going to leave it for the moment. Actually, that being turned into a forge world does make a lot of sense because otherwise I think we're going to have a hard time satisfying the goods need over here. Let's check what these are. Well, there's a forge world there. Is that within distance? It's not right now, but it's pretty close. So we have technologies that we could use to fix that up. That might be just fine. Okay. So we haven't really talked very much about science. You can see here we have some technologies available to us. We have to invent technologies to advance our ability to develop newer and better technologies. And obviously, you can see the light bulb costs of these things. We're not doing a good job generating science. You get a little bit of science from just exploring forebear ruins, and sometimes as a reward for completing tasks. Like when we do this, we're going to get some more. But if you really want to be generating good science, you have to set up laboratories. So the way a laboratory works is it's a structure that you just like floated out in space somewhere, and you have to connect it to planets. It requires people to serve as researchers, and then a resource to study. That could be minerals, water, biomass, chips, or robots. And the more people and resource you connect, the more points of science it will generate. And it'll give you a science income that works, same rules as your money income. But
Okay.
obviously, you have to be able to connect slipways to it. So you have to have both sources of people and ideally several sources of the same resource in the area to be able to, to be able to efficiently do your research. So, looking around here, trying to figure out what I want to connect where. If we make... you reach this? Not quite. This would be a problem. I'm trying to figure out, like, if I use this thing to turn a world into a Forge world, where do I want to do that? And I think the answer is it has to be this one. Because it has to be somewhere where we can reach them. The minerals can reach the world, and then the world can reach Philip 7, Philip 8, Philip the 8th. So that's not going to be possible until we have our slipways reaching further. Which means that we might be able to get something going up here. Because we have this point of water that we're not using. We have another planet over here that could potentially deliver water. And we have a couple of points of people. Let me see if we can figure out a spot for this. Okay, I need to get rid of this asteroid. It's in the way. Yeah, if I put this down right here, we can connect 2 people planets to it and a water planet to it right now. And then in theory, could potentially connect more water to it from surrounding areas later. So let's go ahead and do that. It does have a pretty hefty money upkeep. But we're going to be okay for right now. I'm playing the game on a pretty low difficulty. So we're not really having troubles with money, but if we were playing on any of the higher ones, that first lab can really be a very significant expense. Also, now that we've leveled this planet up to successful, it's producing more water and biomass, and I figure we may as well just go ahead and send a biomass across to this planet that needs it so desperately. This planet now is having all of its needs met and has enough inputs and outputs. It just needs to be in a trade relationship with one planet that is a little bit more successful in order to flip over, and we're going to be able to make that happen real soon. But now we have at least a little bit of science income. So the way it works is the first pair of person plus thing generates the first point of science. And then every person you send generates 1 more point, and every extra point of the resource you send generates 2 more science. So do you have any thoughts, Amabel? I know this one is not as new to you. You're not discovering a thing here. You have seen me play Slipways in the past.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of complicated thoughts on it. I mean, it is doing its own thing, right? But it's certainly in conversation with the games we've been playing, and it's interesting that it takes a non-military focus, because I know from having not necessarily read ahead, but having talked with you about some of the Forex adjacent things, like there's the Total Hammer Warhammer, Total War Warhammer.
Yeah, Total Hammer Warhammer, right?
That a lot of things go in a much more heavily militarized direction, and it's very interesting to have a game that is no military, where it's just like peaceful space exploration / imperialism. I mean, that's not, but
And I will say, like, there are some ideas here that like are a little perhaps challenging intellectually about sort of like the possibility of this everybody benefits forever upward spiral of prosperity that lifts all boats. And
Yeah.
there's some questions that are not being asked, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But like overall, I think it's a very compelling package, and it does a really good job of scratching the puzzle itch specifically. So we're starting to generate some science income here. You can see I went ahead and just jumped the gun and made the water planets and sent the water to the lab, and we're doing good research now. We're gonna have to figure out how to get these planets actually hooked up with people. That's gonna be the next phase of our project. But now that we have some income, we can start thinking about our resources. So, or start thinking about our technologies. So let's have a look at what we have here. This technology enables us to build the disease eradication project on planets, as long as they're established or better. Doing so improves the population of a populated planet by 1 person, and also adds a +1 happiness bonus. We can develop brain-machine interfacing, which lets us build a project on planets that are successful or better that just improves the output money by 30%. That's pretty good, but we're really not hurting for cash as it is. Or we can research this slip amplifier, which allows us to build a project on a planet that improves the range of slipways connecting to this planet by 50% and reduces their cost. Each planet can only have 1 project built on it. So when you
Okay.
have a lot of different projects in your queue here, you have to think hard about like how many of them are you going to pick up. And I'm going to be honest, probably the thing I'm actually going to do here is just hold off for wave augmentation, which we can get next year at this income rate, which just gives us a 30% boost to the range slipways can be, the length of a slipway. It's way more effective than slip amplifiers, and it's a lot less hassle. And then once we have that 30% bonus range, we can use that to create the goods world and go, connect, and all that stuff will be good. So while we're waiting for that to become available, let's tackle these bits at the edges where we've sort of we've made some promises. We don't yet know how we're going to fulfill them. I said there would be people for this world, so let's make that happen. This is not too bad. This as a people world, obviously benefits from minerals, and yeah, no, I like that a bunch, actually. We need to find a source of food for this now, but we can do this thing. That's pretty good. And in fact, well, let's not get too out of myself. I was going to say, in fact, we can then contribute more population to the lab. But first of all, I actually can't until I clear this node. Okay, turns out it was empty. The size of the signal orb indicates how likely it is that there's actually something there. So
Okay.
these smaller ones semi-often turn out to be actually nothing. But actually, this planet can solve this problem too, huh? There we go. Now we just have 1 miserable planet. Let's see if we can find a place to get some food going here. I'm going to go ahead, now that we have our 15 science, we will invent this technology, and let's make this part happen. So we're going to turn a nearby planet into a forge world. It's going to be this one. It's going to be a minerals to goods forge world. Bam. Not only did that... See, that's one of my favorite things. Look at this, Amabel. Look at this.
Yeah.
We connect the thing and watch.
Whoa.
All the stuff upgrades all at once, and it's just, that feels good. That feels real good. So that's one of our 2 people-producing planets to successful for our task. We're still working on the others. This one needs more chips out and some water in. And we can maybe make some version of that happen, perhaps. Hard to say. It might take a second for us to get this remnant world bonus. For right now, I'm going to try to get this thing sorted. So we have here a world that is capable of producing food, but it needs biomass in. Let's see if we can... Okay, this planet can produce biomass if it is fed people. So we can make a nice, easy triangle here. So let's get food in. And then we're going to also need a source of minerals. And I guess there's no reason I would use this world when I could use that world. I don't know what I'm going to do with the extra minerals, but... Okay, so minerals plus food in. We get the extra point of people, and they go out immediately. And then we're not going to get another point of people from here until we give it goods. Which we can do. So we have a world here that can produce goods. This does not quite weave in between the worlds, unfortunately. That would be really convenient. And there may be some ways that we can finagle that, make that work. But for the moment, well, let's see here. Up ahead on the next tier of the technology tree, we do have access to the micro forge, which is a structure you can build that you can feed resources into to create various kinds of technologies, technological stuff. At first, it just makes chips, but there are upgrades that you can pursue that will allow it to produce other stuff. It might be able to, like, it might be the case that we could make one and just put it right here and feed in the minerals and make the goods or something. We may have a way to fix this yet.
Could it also make Cheetos?
We could also make Cheetos. We could use disease. We could use disease eradication to produce the extra point of population. How about that? Make this a bacteria breeding planet. People make biomass. And there we go. You know, nice little triangle of functional worlds, and everybody's basically pretty happy. We still haven't solved this problem yet, but we're closing things up one by one. And that means now that we have two technologies, our window of text has slid down by one space. And when we invent two more things, it'll slide down again to be tier 2 and tier 3. Yeah. So Amabel, say words.
Say words. I mean, it's neat, and I'm enjoying watching it. And I don't like the thing is that this is really. It's kind of a perfect game.
Okay.
I don't have any reservations on this, really. Like a lot of Forex School has been you introducing me to stuff and me being like, that's interesting. Also, that part sucks. I don't care for this, and this is too much soup. And actually, we had someone in our previous episode ask, what is soup? I guess they had not seen the endless space series we did.
Ooh.
Soup is where...
Hold on, this forebear facility looks like it can synthesize various resources out of vacuum. So we can rebuild the synthesizer, and depending on who we have rebuild it, it produces different chunks of resources. That's neat. I definitely need robot. I need robot real bad.
So I feel like this game is the opposite of soup, because the soup was just all these tiny little decisions that did not matter, and that felt like they didn't matter, and just long. And this just moves at like a really nice clip, and all your decisions have a lot of weight to them. And also I'll say, like, just this is very satisfying. Just I didn't realize how small a team worked on this until just before we started recording this episode.
Yeah, the vast majority of this game was made by a single guy, um, Jacob Vasilewski, or maybe Jakub. I don't actually know how his name is pronounced. Apologies if you're watching. That was best guess territory. But yeah, like the vast majority of the work on this was a single person.
And I mean, like the UI is really clean. There's a
Mhm.
lot of good feedback on like both visually and auditorily on your actions.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's
it's just like
he's real good at making games, in my opinion. He put out a so this I believe Slipways started as a Pico 8 game actually, and when people enjoyed it, he built it out into something greater.
wait, what?
Yeah, yeah. There's a Pico 8 version of Slipways.
Okay, you need to find a way to show me that because that's
I mean, that's pretty easy. That's a very doable thing. Yeah, we can do that. Um, and he has already sort of put out a Pico 8 version of his next thing, and it seems like people are into it. So I believe Solitomb, Solitomb, I believe, is also getting developed into a grown up thing. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I saw you play that on your channel.
It's true, I did. I was not pitching, but thank you for pitching for me. Thank you for doing the what I would have been doing if I was responsible. So I'm looking at this and trying to
Like and
figure out like
subscribe. Hit the bell.
I'm trying to figure out where do we go from here.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's the next most efficient. Because I'll tell you what, 6 is not enough science income for me. I would like to develop more science income, and so I'm looking around here and trying to figure out where would we do that. We have a bunch of planets that theoretically could produce chips. So I'm wondering about like setting up. Oh, that's really awkward. Look at how close that is to not being obstructed. Because this Earth-like worlds can produce a colony with just food. We're very close to a functional people world there. Okay, then we can make it work. We can do some stuff, and then like yeah, and then we just feed people in and we produce a bunch of chips, and then we chip lab somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chip lab like right here would be pretty good. Maybe like somewhere. There's probably a way to do this. Yeah, like that, where it gets fed by that Forge world and that both of those Remnant worlds and this people world and this as a people world. Stuff like that is all very compelling, but I need to find a way to feed this world. And it is a little awkward that there's like food right here and it just barely doesn't make it work. All right, I'm gonna do a hope thing. So first of all, you might have noticed we couldn't really probe this area very effectively with the planets we had before. So part of me grabbing this world before I knew what I was going to do with it was so that we could put down a probe. Part of it is connecting to this thing and seeing if it wants to do something useful for us. Not immediately, it turns out. We can establish another museum. We can learn about forebear culture. We can sell artifacts off. I mean, honestly, in this case, I might go for the museum grab because it'll let us get into extreme miniaturization, and that'll help expose some stuff. We can also build. We could skip that and just build quantum computing bonuses on each of our laboratories to increase their bulb output. If you connect 2 planets producing population, both of them will generate a culture. Okay, that's interesting. Also, I should point out, we do have access to the mass lensing technology, which lets you convert the mass of a planet into a slipstream relay. A slipstream relay is basically like an object you can bounce a slipstream off of.
Okay.
So it lets you sort of like build them around corners or obstacles and stuff. This can certainly be powerful, especially since normally planets are just like a fully blocking, right? Like, which is bad.
Yeah.
Gosh. But I kind of think I want to take the +8 here. after our income for the year, which happens in a month, we'll be able to get quantum computing. We'll be able to really push. So I think I'm just gonna start setting up the thing, and we're gonna figure out a way to make it work later. Because
Okay.
I'm very smart. Hold on.
are.
What's my fucking plan here? Hold on. How would I ever provide minerals? Because if we're going to make this a chip world, it's got to have minerals, right? How would we ever provide minerals to this world? Okay, maybe we don't commit that one just yet. But like I wanna build this lab. We're gonna figure this out. I think I know what the answer is. I think I know what eventually the answer will be. So like I said, we're gonna buy quantum computing. We're going to connect people to here and chip to here. Planets are successful. We're doing the work. We're going to swing in here and build the quantum computing upgrade, which is plus 2 bulbs. Also, plus 50%. Like, this laboratory's upkeep is actually pretty high, and we're definitely going to do the same thing to the other lab. Okay. But now we have 11 income. That's much better. And that's before we connect all the other stuff here. We're gonna... Oh, I need to reveal this. Okay. I figured it was going to be nothing. Now the question is, do I think that I can get minerals to this world somehow? And the answer is definitely eventually yes. Eventually that's a thing that could happen. All right, I'm going to just commit because I want the science income going. Look at that, 7. Okay. Now we have some problems to solve, but we also are getting rad tools for solving them. So one thing that I definitely want is to push up into our next tiers relatively quickly. So what is the next thing that we're researching? The food processor is a structure capable of turning biomass or water into food. Which would help with providing food to Rembrandt 2, but I think the way we're probably getting stuff to Rembrandt 2 is by just relaying it, right? We'll just do a bounce somewhere. Does this connect? It does. So we could send more people down there. The other thing we could do, obviously, is generate food. Let's probe these. We just generate a point of food up here somewhere, which is not like super difficult to do. And in fact, yeah, that gives us a use for the robots here. Let's just go robot, food. Problem solved. Okay. Our empire size just increased, by the way. You can see here, as your empire grows, it gets harder to manage. Every time your empire goes up by a size, you pay 1 extra upkeep per planet.
Okay.
So the moment when you break from one size to the next can be a little scary, especially on the higher difficulties. For us, it wasn't so bad, but it did drag our income below 100 per year. I mean, we're fine, you know. So we have 15 science coming in now. 15 solid science coming in. That's not horrible. We could leave it there. Do we want mass lensing? Do I want to be able to turn planets into relays?
Lensify those planets, baby.
I don't think so. I think I might. I think it's either going to be xenofoods or miniaturization.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think it needs to be xenofoods. I think we have reasonable uses for our biomass and water, and we have food figured out. So I guess we're saving for miniaturization. We'll buy this next year. In just a couple of months here, in fact. So let's continue to solve problems. We're going to get the minerals here later through teleportation magic. You'll see. So what other needs do we need to solve then in the meantime? We still haven't got a remnant planet properly upgraded. That would be a good thing to do. Delivering water here would be helpful. If we make a connection between these planets, we can deliver more chips. First of all, just like more resources getting run is more money all the time. But secondly, that means this planet has enough export routes to be happy once we get the water to it. Am I allowed to build... I am allowed to build disease eradication here. I can't connect those two worlds directly, though. Yeah, once this world levels up, it's going to be very helpful. We still have the robot problem over here. So, like, what do you think about the idea of, like, how important to you is the idea of competition within these games? Like, what do you think about the fact that we are losing that in this thing that doesn't have another player? And, you know, like, the military systems disappear as sort of just a result of that. But, like, is that... do you feel like we're like losing pressures that are necessary or interesting?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, like, this does feel like kind of a chill game. I know there's a lot of puzzly bits for you to chew on, but
Yes.
So I feel like it doesn't have those pressures. I don't know if I'd use the word lose, because I don't conceptualize it as a loss, more like a different focus.
Yeah.
You know? How much is it that 4X games are competitive because the first games were, you know, and how much does that inform the kind of, even within the space, fantasy space, how much does that inform kind of the inherent, like, Whiggish liberalism, like imperialism, like the things that make me uncomfortable about 4X as a genre,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily mechanically, but, you know, the things those mechanics might represent. How much of that is based on approaching it as a zero-sum competition?
Yeah,
And
that's a great question, honestly. Like, you know, which parts of those things are necessary for the games to function or for the games to have their feel, and which things are just because the predecessor did it.
yeah, and which things are just because games are just
Make
uh
a big move out here.
because 4X games derive from a board game origin point, and board games are typically competitive and multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how much of that informs that? Whereas if this genre had arisen without that particular set of ancestors, would it even be a thing? Like, we were talking earlier about how perhaps there is some overlap between different genres. Like, there are god games and city builders, and they're different things, but there's some kind of Venn diagram overlaps, and those are games that are single player games, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
I
my.
wonder. Okay, well, hang on. Let's I'll explain this, and then I'll keep rattling on.
Okay, so I have connected this. I decided to make a big move here,
Mhm.
In part to try to get more water to this laboratory because I want more science. We've connected to this station here, and it's a power plant. So we can rebuild it and turn it into an energy producer. It's pretty expensive, but we have so much money we don't have to worry about money anymore. Um, Units of energy can be used as any resource. They're a wild
Okay.
resource. Or we can gain the cybernetic bodies technology by studying the thing. And if you have cybernetic bodies, you can use people in place of robot, which would have
You have
some serious implications for the way things are building right now. That said, it is a 48 bulb tier 4 technology. It's like, we're not there.
okay.
I think I'm just going to rebuild it, but that's something. That's really something.
Something that's coming up in discussions in like the experimental board game space that I kind of hang out in
Yeah.
is the idea of games without victory conditions, which I think you would feel were not games, uh, or
Well,
games.
okay. So I would probably, in a totally neutral space, that is how I would probably talk about them. But I would want to be like 100% clear that everybody understands that those aren't games to me in a fully non-derogatory way.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like,
Because it's not dismissive. It's just that, like, not everything is like a pail of Legos is not a game. A pail of
yeah,
Legos is better than most games, but that's a toy, right?
yeah,
And like,
or some,
yeah, okay, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to. Go ahead, stop
Okay,
fighting
well,
me.
I was say you also are a big fan of TTRPGs,
Yeah,
but you might not describe them as games in the same way you would describe a board game or a video game, where you need to have a directed goal and so there's a lot of talk about.
yeah, I do think probably TTRPG, the G in TTRPG is probably wrong, as they are sort of a directed collaborative theater exercise more than anything else.
Yeah, so to be clear, I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth or say you meant it derogatorily, at all. Uh,
I think I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these energies down here and use it to
the hand
satisfy.
is so cute.
And use it to satisfy this food need, because otherwise, this planet's food need, I don't know that it's gonna get met.
But there's a lot of talk about multi-victor games, like games where there is not a single victor. There are multiple victory conditions that players can achieve. And I think that's something that is often talked about in terms of like removing like colonialist assumptions from game design.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
Um, and I'm wondering if
Heartbreaking.
like how that is heartbreaking. How much would like the traditional 4X space be hostile to something like that? To like a 4X computer game where you win a science victory, I win an economic victory, we both won the game by the end of the game.
Yeah,
There are people gonna have a problem with it regardless, right? But
yeah. The word. There's definitely a lot of people for whom, without even really like examining it or like without taking a position consciously, like they're gonna feel very strongly that the word "win" is exclusive, right?
yeah. So so I'm thinking like, do you need competition to have this element, and are the other elements? Have you encountered other 4xe, 3xe games that don't have a military element, don't have that direct competition element, but are competitive games? How much of that competition is enforced by the military interactions, the hostile, aggressive interactions between players?
I mean, I'm certainly familiar with. So, like, the thing is, once you take out the military interactions, you're definitely trending into the um into the city buildery type spaces,
Okay.
which is again not necessarily to say anything bad. It's just to say that's where you're at, and then like I'm a lot less familiar with those games.
Okay.
Gosh, I need like another laboratory. We are still not really pumping out the stuff here. But like I'm looking around trying to figure out like where would a lab even be good at this point? And I think the problem is that the answer is nowhere. I need to engineer a situation. So successive labs studying the same resources don't make as much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You do not get as many points of science from your second chip lab or whatever. So you want to be producing labs that are doing different things. We could maybe make a food lab up here. Like if part of the problem is I need a little bit more I need more vision before I know whether it's a good idea to colonize these worlds in various ways, but I need these worlds to be anchors for the probes to get that vision.
To get the vision. Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of like at a certain point you are having to do some guesswork.
That's rad. I like that.
We have a spare point of biomass over here, and we have another like easy biomass producing world. And that does make me kind of want to just like try to set up a biomass lab up north. Like this world's not really a biomass producer. Yeah, it would just be Zalgo 8. Oh god, the Zalgo. But like it's not totally horrible. Setting up a world here that can absorb like a point of population and a point of biomass, and we'll make this work. Hold on. Before I connect that, let me install the quantum computers so that we have the extra couple points of science when the income ticks over. Okay, and you can see our income has fallen a little bit in total. I'm like getting a lot of planets and stuff going, but we're getting important stuff done. We have access to some pretty powerful technologies now. The repurposing project produces goods on any planet that produces robots, and robots on any planet that produces goods. That's huge. Genesis cells allows us to do a similar thing with biomass and water. Tailored evolution adapts the genetic code of inhabitants to the unique conditions of a planet, providing all kinds of bonuses. I bought those miniature forges, the micro forges, and it turns out, yeah, you can produce goods and bots from them, but you need this upgrade. But the thing I'm actually saving for is access to the ability to build slipstream relays. And I'm very focused on this for one reason that you're going to see in a minute when we get there.
I'm at the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I bet.
What?
What?
I am at the edge of my seat is what I said, and I meant it.
I know you said it. Okay, so but basically we need to spend another year here. So let's do that. Let's figure out a way to do that. That's a shame. Let's figure out a productive way to do that before we can start bouncing resources around in weird ways. And once we have the slip relay stuff going, we're going to unlock a lot of sort of like stuff that I've been sort of quietly building for the possibility of. I'm just trying to figure out how we make additional value here. We're gonna need a lot of robots. Gosh, we're gonna need a lot of robots. Amabel, We
To
need
need a
so
lot of
many. We're gonna
robots.
need so many goddamn robots. It's fucking crazy.
What's with all these robots?
What's with the lack of all these robots? Is the actual question.
Yeah.
Why
Do
do
you
I
have a
lack
favorite movie
robots?
about
Do I
robots?
have a favorite movie about robots?
And why is it heart beeps?
It's when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I was very fond of Flight of the Navigator.
Oh yeah. No,
The
I could
ship
see
in that
that.
counts as a robot, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm playing really slowly. It's been a while since I played the game, and I'm definitely not like as sharp on these decisions as I used to be. But also
You're all right.
I'm having like a pretty good time. I'm just kind of like chilling out, and I hope that's okay, everybody.
That's okay with me. So we're 16 years in.
Yeah, it's February of 3416. There's 11 months and 9 years remaining in the game.
All right,
I'm
and
gonna
we've
go ahead
been
and make
doing this
this a
for
mineral world.
a little over an hour. Is this a thing where we're just gonna finish it with an extra long episode, or do you want to do a second episode where we finish this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I should start making dinner because those twice baked potatoes do need to be baked twice.
Wow. Twice baked potatoes is pretty great. That's a thing I'm so happy to hear.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of good ways of getting goods to this world, and I'm definitely thinking about just bringing that second point of energy. Oh, actually, I can't. You can only contribute, right? Each route can only be serving once, so crud. All right, then we're also waiting for. Hold on. I definitely want to get to the point where we hit the slipstream relays. You're gonna see stuff's gonna start happening real fast. We can, I think, just connect this to the ruin. I believe that's true, and then we can generate some more science. Maybe I'm gonna do. No, it won't do. Okay, well then, give me my month back. Oh, this is a goods producing world right here. What am I talking about? So we can just make this. It's not going to ever benefit from chips, right? Yeah, it doesn't really matter which version of this we do, because we're going to be removing the need anyway. So yeah, that happens, do that, and then send this to here to satisfy that need. Okay, there we go. And then one more month, one more useful thing to do. Amabel, what's a useful thing?
I've never been useful in my life. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, that makes sense. Does this cost? This doesn't cost time. That's worth doing because we're gonna need this extra point of population to feed Zalgo 8 in a moment here. Blowing up an asteroid's not really worth anything because do we not have troubles with that. You know what? Actually, let me reveal some nodes over here. Okay, so we're gonna buy access to the slipstream relay. Now, some of the technologies have other technologies that they immediately unlock. Like, for example, when we bought the Microforge tech, it unlocked this ability to this universal miniaturization, which upgrades the Microforges, right?
Okay.
Now that we have slipstream relays, we also have access to Infraspace mastery, which allows us to route some slipstreams through Infraspace, letting them cross the other. We can cross the beams under very particular conditions, and I'm going to show you how rad that is.
Okay.
Eventually, right now, what we're going to do is start just like bouncing things around corners. So, slipstream, slipways, ways for things to slip. One thing that needs to happen pretty much immediately. I thought I had a way of. I'm all discombobulated. Actually, how reliant am I on the Oh, okay, no, this here. So, this,
Okay.
right? Because that doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work by itself. So we're going to use a slip relay to bounce a point of population from here to there, enabling another point of water. And then we're going to connect that point of water to here, finally completing this task.
All right.
There we go.
That was a useful thing to do.
Increase the total production of food by 10
much.
units. Holy crow. But you can see as you continue to satisfy one faction, like the rewards get pretty juicy, right? All tech from the Dender discounted by 20% would be huge. As well as 13 blue. 13 blue is great. We can definitely get more remnant planets to successful. Establish 2 planets producing 4 or more non-people resources. Do I think this is more likely than 10 extra units of food? Geez, probably, right? 10 extra units of food is that's a lot of food.
It's a lot of food.
It's a lot of food, baby. What? What's funny?
I like our... I don't think the viewers realize this is how 90% of our conversations go.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Where you say a thing, I repeat it, and then you say and add the word baby as an intensifier, and that's real good.
That's maybe oversimplifying. I am going to go ahead and put up a relay over here as well. So, like, relays are great, right?
Yeah.
But they are expensive because first of all, they're expensive in terms of time because it's a month to build the relay, then a month to direct the good into the relay, then another month to direct the good out of the relay. In addition, they each have, upkeep costs and they're 20 credits just to put down. Like, they allow you to do a lot of useful, powerful things, but they are not... They're an expensive solution to every problem. That said, they are kind of a solution to every problem. So it's hard to be too mad. Speaking of which, here's a solution I was going to make to this problem. People. To that planet. Hooray! This is 52. Yeah, the game's going to speed up a little bit here. Do you want to maybe just try to tough it out? I apologize.
Sure. Oh, that's fine, sweetheart.
Okay.
I'm enjoying myself too, to be clear.
All right. Good. Well, good then. We can connect this person down here, and it creates the output, but it doesn't get us this planet being successful yet. What does this planet still need? This planet just needs another planet it's touching to level up. But that would be this one. This one needs to deliver a mineral somewhere. Well, we can make that happen. Yeah, we can make that happen soonish. You know what would actually be really helpful is even more science.
Okay.
And now that we have the ability to like bend stuff, I am like looking at this and thinking like, where could I more science, right? One thing I should definitely be doing, like that's a very obvious connection that should exist. So I do kind of want to get Infraspace Mastery as our next technology. It's a very, very powerful one. So we're going to gain 26 science. Next year, we're going up to 75. So we only have to preserve 52 of that, which means I could spend up to 23 bulbs, which I guess is actually, we don't have anything that costs less than that. So never mind. We're not doing that just yet. The other thing we could do that would probably be helpful is to actually establish that food lab, like I was thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Would I be able to... Yeah, all right. This gives our spare points of population a little something to do. Wait, is food not one of the studyable? No, it's minerals. That's right. Okay, hold on. Undo. Okay. We certainly have places where we can commit minerals. We have lots of mineral worlds, but unfortunately, the mineral worlds are largely separated from each other, right?
Okay.
If we got a planet to flip here... All right, you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to build another lab about it. Connect and connect and connect. Okay. This world will become successful and then produce another point of minerals as soon as it's connected to another world that is successful, and then we can send those minerals to the lab as well. But also, just having the lab out there allows us to install the fancy computers, and that helps a bunch. So now we're going up to 79 at the end of the year, which means that we can afford to spend 27. So I could pick up flexible fab, and that could change some lives, right? Robots and goods living together in harmony. I'm looking around, like, where are my goods and robot producing worlds? Would it help to produce robots from here? Actually, no. Would it help to produce robots from here? Not a bit, actually. I think the use of that is basically like there. Okay, so that's no fun. I guess we're just holding on to the science. We'll find stuff to do with it later. It's always good to have extra science, Amabel.
Yeah.
So this world's producing as much water as it will ever produce. We're gonna need, we need water over here. We have 4 months to spend. Does this connect there? It doesn't quite. Oh, that's right, I know that. I was upset about that earlier. Yeah, it's a shame we don't. It's a shame we can't research food, because we actually have a bunch of places where it would be immediately a good idea. So getting some water to this world. Oh yeah, we could do some of this. So, robots. Let's get rid of this asteroid. Does this world really not reach? Oh no, yeah, it can reach these. Okay. So if we make this a robot world, run robots to here for water, run water to there, then minerals to here. Okay, there we go. That's some more successes and whatnot. But this is where it gets good. Okay. So this allows us to build Infraspace relays. They're like normal relays, except 1,000 times more expensive. But they let us cheat. And
okay.
Cheating is very powerful. So I'm trying to make sure that this is the most sensible place to do this. I think it is. Well, let's see. We need robots over here, right? How is it gonna? Okay. Relay. I'm going to connect via Infraspace. Ooh, look at that. A second point of material, a second point of minerals here. And then this point of chips down there, which accomplishes that task, makes this world more successful, and now it's producing robots. So it can feed that world. And now this world has an extra point of water that we can route via another Infraspace relay. Like that. And look at all the things that are flipping over.
And it is able to cross the stream.
But Infraspace relays still can't cross other Infraspace relays, so it's not like a total. It's not a total cheat, but it gives you access to an extra layer, which obviously is pretty powerful. And then, like your maximum relay length applies to the infraspace relay, right? So you could run things at a much greater distance. As you just have to be able to connect each side to the relay, and it does a lot of useful things. Okay, so look at some of these top tier technologies. Every successful people producing planet generates a culture. Every prosperous forge world generates 2 units of luxury, which will be accepted by any planet that produces people, and any planet getting luxury gets 2 happiness. So these are just like, we're just adding score multipliers, right?
Yeah.
Time dilation increases the number of months in the year. In case you think it would be useful to have 5 or 15 extra months, because this does unlock another technology that adds even more months. I think that's a really fun science fiction, like, yeah, we just slowed the year down.
You know what that reminds me of?
I'm gonna grab Universal Harmony. What's that, Darren?
It reminds me of, first of all, the Dutch month. Where,
of course.
I told you about this before, right?
Great question.
So Dutch mercenaries were paid on a monthly basis.
Yes, you have mentioned this to me before. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell the story.
Yeah, please do.
And one thing is that if you don't pay your soldiers regularly, they get upset and they do a bunch of heinous shit, like more than the normal amount of heinous shit.
More than the heinous shit that you originally hired them for.
Yeah. So the Dutch created a calendar for the military where the year had fewer months. So they still were getting paid on the first of every month. It's just there were like 10 months in the year instead of 12.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of cool with that because that's better than not getting paid at all, and better than there's more payments in a year than other militaries were doing during this period of time. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there definitely was a point where the Roman calendar was just extended by a few months so that the year wouldn't end, so that someone's term as consul wouldn't end. So that's some fun shenanigans.
Get a forge world to prosperous. Colonize 9 different types of planets. That's a lot of time. That's 27 months just of colonize actions. I'm gonna take these other tasks here. Okay, so we need to try to get a forge world to prosperous. This one's pretty close. Where's another forge world that's doing, like, the forge worlds that are producing goods are pumping a lot of goods out. This forge world's got to be pretty close, right? Yeah, it needs 1 neighboring planet to flip. And actually, if we sent these robots out to anywhere that needs robots, this world would flip because it's got all of its basic needs. Also, if this world received robots from anywhere, I feel like these problems are probably mutually solvable. So we're going to use a relay here to do a double length delivery. Bam. Task complete. So now a bunch of our technologies got discounted, and also keep in mind we're generating a lot of blue stuff, right? Continuing to generate blue stuff is big value. Okay, so that produced 1 extra point of robots from here. Is it possible to... All right, well, this is sloppy and goofy, but I'm going to do it. Robots make goods. Goods go to planet. All right, so Our next goal for the Vittori is just invent 2 inventions, and I think each technology that we build is worth points at the end of the game as well.
Okay.
So let's improves this planet's production by 1 additional unit of each product. That's a pretty useful technology. We definitely can get some good value out of Genesis cells. There's some spots up here where, like for example, if we install Genesis cells here immediately, it'll produce a unit of water that will go over and feed that. That's just free stuff. We also have, where's the water thing? Yeah, we have the water thing here. I guess this planet producing more points of water and biomass doesn't actually do anything because it's not even remotely connected to anything. That should be connected though. That's just free stuff. Oh no! That's annoying. Those planets don't quite connect. Well, you know what we can do about that. Robot, go here. Okay. More successful worlds is more good. Here we go. This planet, producing a point of biomass, allows us to feed that planet its final need, and creates a connection with a successful world. So that's getting closer to flipping that over. There's no need for biomass over here at all, actually. I thought for sure that I remembered there being more crossover between those things. But I am just kind of like clicking stuff quickly because I am trying to also not make this take forever, you know? If we give this Genesis cells, here's an example of a place where we can do something a little fancy. We can connect this to here to deliver the water. And then this planet now has 2 outputs and 1 input. And so we can send the point of culture from this world over to there to be the second income, which flips that to successful, which is the 3rd successful planet for this, so this flips to prosperous.
Okay.
Once again, all these little spidery moves that we can make. I'm going to pick up stream splitting, I think. There's got to be at least some spots where that does something. Okay, so that allows us to run a 3rd connection out of each relay, which has some utility for sure. 1 more food producing planet to prosperous. You can see the final reward, if you please a faction enough, you get access to their special planet that you can place, and all their special planets have like significant happiness modifiers on them.
Okay.
Invent 3 new technologies. Hold on. How feasible is that? I mean, there's some pretty cheap ones that we can grab still, and the things that still do stuff. It's gonna be, yeah, we can do that. We can make that work. Give me invent 3 new technologies, 2 more forge worlds to prosperous. Can it be done? Well, we need to get some minerals coming in over here, but that can happen. Yeah, I think we can. I think we can do it. So first things first, we definitely need to make some deliveries off of this world. Minerals go to there. Look at everything flip over. It's beautiful. We do need. Oh, we do need water here. That helps. And that gives us another source of minerals. And I'm going to just go ahead and sort of dark relay that over. Okay, this needs to be trading with 1 more planet that is at least yellow in order to be successful, or in order to flip. too prosperous. So, is there a place we can deliver chips or robots around here? Well, I could do a chip delivery to there. This planet needs another import really badly, actually. Boom. There we go. Two Forge Worlds flipping to prosperous off of each other, becoming successful. So now we have picked up the Slithid Industrial Hub. Build directly on a successful or better planet. Gets 1 happiness for every 2 units of chip and robot produced on this world and everything directly connected to it. So that's interesting.
Directly means... Does it
Directly means directly?
include relays?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a couple of pretty strong options. Obviously, we have some worlds where we are producing just like crazy amounts of chips and stuff. So this one is directly connected to another robot world. That's pretty juicy. This one's producing a ton of stuff, and it's not immediately connected to these other... But there's a lot of stuff around it. We could connect it to worlds where that are producing lots of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. We're just about to get our next big flow in of resources too. So these worlds both would benefit from more population. We don't really have a population world. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at these and thinking about like, what could I do connecting one more line out of the relays, right? Okay, we already have disease eradication here and here, right? Yeah. I think I just need more people worlds, honestly. We've hit a point where we have like all of our people employed and we need a bunch more on top of that. One thing we can definitely do though is drop a relay sending people to here. That will help. And then now that this is here, if we Genesis cells, I would send the, sorry, hold on. I want to use this relay to deliver a point of biomass to that lab. If I build the Genesis cells before building the connection, they just automatically move over to the only thing that can take them. But if there's, if there's a possibility of 2 different deliveries, you get to choose which one you're making. I think I am going to grab flexible fabrication now. There are some places where that's going to be useful, and for most importantly, it's a cheap technology to help us push through to Vittori level 3. And then, like, you put flexible fabrication down here, you get extra robot, and you just, like, send robot to there or something. Yeah, and then if we can deliver chips to this thing, it will become successful, making that prosperous. And we sure can deliver chips to it. Can we ever? Because you know what we have no shortage of in this galaxy? Is chips. It's a shame we can't really feasibly get these people over to the part of the galaxy where we need all the people.
Yeah, space is pretty big.
Yes. I think that's fair to say.
I mean, the amount of time to just travel between these planets would be nuts.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the Slipways are supposed to be facilitating this, right? I don't know to what degree they do so. I don't know how facilitated it is. Do we have more places where we could deliver? So let's see, you're getting chips from there already.
I guess I have a Space Forex question for you.
Oh, yeah?
And I know the Space Forex is not necessarily the type of Forex you have the most experience with,
Hmm.
but is there ever anything with like orbiting movement of planets?
Orbiting movement. What? I love you. But
I,
what?
well, like these planets are essentially stationary. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. I think I see what you mean.
like they're always the same distance apart from each other, and the fact is now, like in endless space, of course, you have different tiny galaxies, solar systems that you're going into.
Yeah.
You know, but here, like all these planets are just. So I'm just wondering if, like, because a computer could model.
Yeah, a computer could model some pretty complex kinds of movement if you really wanted it to.
But just no one wants it to, is the vibe I'm getting.
Well, so like part of the reason you don't do something like that in a board game, very obviously, is that it would be impossible to calculate, right? How would you enforce it? The enforcement question isn't the only question, I guess is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I got that Slithed Homeworld up to 12%. Because as a player, you still have to be able to read how valuable a move is before it is clear to you whether or not you should take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need when we get science again next year, we'll be able to push through that. So we want to send units of luxury to planets that produce people because that's just like bonus happiness. Hooray! Can I reach that? No. How about what if instead of no, the answer was yes? Hooray! Prosperous. Are all of the chips on this planet actually spoken for? It looks like the answer is yes. I'd say I've created a situation here where it is actually difficult to move these chips out. But hold on, we can do this instead. Okay. So this world needs one more import or export to flip over. If we send it culture, it will become prosperous and thus generate luxury. And then we can send its luxury over to people worlds and get happiness. You can see I've managed to push our happiness multiplier up to 186%. So there's something to be said for just like accomplishing raw stars, right? But
Yeah.
also multipliers is good. I don't know if you've ever heard of the age-old concept of multipliers is good. Does it, planets receiving at least one luxury get to happiness? So it's not enough. It doesn't help to send more than one point of luxury to a people world. Tricky stuff. This world just desperately needs, export routes. How do I send these people out to a place to make them do work? Here's one. It's very clumsy, but it is an export. And then also, if I connect these two, we can send, point of people to there. Okay. Now we're making stuff happen. Amabel, look at this graph.
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful, beautiful graph of our things and abilities. All right, this planet needs more people. I'm probably just like founding a new like 11th hour people world. Where are we getting the? Amabel, where do we get food?
You have 3 months left.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. What if it was 4 months? What if I bought the ability to have 4 months? Okay, these are at this point we're not accomplishing any more tasks, but we will just take some. Or actually, hold on. Am I allowed to untake those? Unaccomplished tasks might be worth negative points. I don't remember.
Only one way to find out.
What's your
Take
problem?
some tasks.
You need an export? Well, here, export. Hooray! You need to export. We need chips over here. We can probably make that happen. And then like every place, there's lots of places where we need to deliver. I need to like just move my culture over from one planet to another. Any maximum rank planet is gonna get it gets plus happiness off of culture. So just export that stuff in a useful direction. Actually, export that to here, and we'll make the chips work, and that's how we'll finish the thing.
Okay.
Here, you need luxury. You don't have luxury yet. Are there any people worlds that don't have luxury? You have it. Oh, I have the Vittori Galactic University as well. I forgot about this. 1 point of happiness for every three science produced on this world and everything directly connected to it. So we don't have any planets that are connected to more than one of the labs, right? But we could. And actually, it's not even like really easy to do at this point. I've drawn so many lines everywhere. This planet is connected to 2 of the labs. Bam. 6 happiness. Okay, 2 more moves. Amabel, help.
Okay.
What are the moves? Also make robots. Okay. That doesn't immediately help.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think we're going to be able to connect this. It's fine. Are there any other like planets in kind of like the middly bits that aren't... Hey, you're not a good color yet.
All right. What do we need to do to make that a good color?
I would need this is a tricky one. It needs an export, and we don't have the time to establish a new Slipway connection. Right. See, that's what I was saying with the things being expensive, time wise.
Yeah.
Because it takes 3 months to draw them. I think we might just be out of stuff to do. We might just be like kind of at the end of the game.
Yeah. Which I'll say, I will say this for this.
Yeah.
You know, the end of the game, feeling like we're at the end of the game is like these last couple of turns and not half the game.
Yeah, that's true.
And I do appreciate that, because even in you know, the Space Tyrant, which is, you know, a different kind of short experience.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
It ran out of
we
juice
were in
pretty
the
fast.
okay, let's just get it over with phase fairly quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas this took a long time to get there. And look at this thing that you built.
That's
This
another
bonkers banana pan.
that's another big part of this is I just feel like it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic in appearance, and that's cool to me. I'm just gonna tap. So there we go. That's not like the great. Okay, that's a lot of platinum stars, but that's not the greatest performance ever. That's just what a game of that looks like. It was a little longer than I said. I apologize. I do play very slowly sometimes. And look, it's very pretty. And we got planets, and we got all these stars from that, and then we got legacy points, and we got all these stars from that. My empire size is vast. Each increase in size is worth 400 more stars, and then 270% or 207% happiness, and that's a score. Amabel, that's Slipways. That's what that's like. I will say we didn't look at the campaign mode in Nexus 5X at all, where there are some kind of interesting unique challenges. We're not going to do it here either, but the campaign mode for this game does offer a bunch of like really interesting kind of like puzzly takes on these mechanics, or like things with extra steps, things where you have to like use your slipways to contain a growing black hole, or like there's some really cool stuff.
Okay.
If you want to see some of those campaign mode things, you can of course check out the Slipways series right here on this YouTube channel. But yeah, that's this thing, and I think that's probably all we need to talk about Slipways here in 4X School, in no small part because it is not actually a 4X. But I do think it's in the sort of like the theory tree. It's benefiting from the ideas of it is an offshoot of enough that it was worth looking at. When you come back, oh sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, it's kind of like looking at immersive sims. Like, what is an immersive sim? It like there's a lot of different overlapping ideas, and a lot of ways things influence things, and a big part of this is seeing the way this identity, this genre identity, has shifted and pulled and inspired new things and gone other directions. So
yeah,
I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is a very sort of like a loose and expansive 4X school. we're gonna be looking in all of the directions. So yeah, that's gonna be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, there's one more little detour I want to pursue before we get back into big what you might call quote unquote proper 4Xs. We got one more little tangent to chase down. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.